Howdy! Welcome to the first of the mental senses. And I feel like this topic could be a really, really long topic or a really, really short topic. And I'm going to make it really, really short for us. First, go ahead and do your journaling for this day. And then let's talk about pain. So, pain, external and internal. I'm going to make this so simple. Pain is something that we just sort of biologically avoid, and we can see that in a different light. We can see pain as actually an attraction towards something that would be healing for us. Sometimes we mix that up and are not aware of what's happening, and so we go towards something that's just numbing or and becomes addictive rather than going towards something that would be really healing. But I think as we become more and more connected to these senses and the sense of attraction and really being aware of the physical sensation that happens when we experience those attractions, what's happening more and more is that we're able to discern, is this an attraction towards something that's actually healing for me? So, and it works for external as well as internal pain. If you're feeling mental distress, which is actually the next sense, spoiler alert, that's a sign that things need to be looked at, perhaps. I think pain in general is a sign that things need to be looked at. And often, though, pain is immediately, like if you're, there's so many types of pain. If you're cutting your finger, obviously that's you automatically pull back. There's no intellectual choice making going on there. It's unless you're cutting yourself on purpose. But that pain, which I hope we're not, that pain of cutting your finger is an attraction to stop cutting your finger, right? Internal pain, whether it's physical pain or emotional pain, is a signal to your system to stop, take a look at what's happening perhaps, and maybe make a different choice. Notice what you're attracted to going towards. If it's like the cutting your finger example, you don't have to make that choice intellectually and consider options and write a pros and cons list. Should I stop cutting my finger or not? You're more than likely just going to stop cutting your finger. You pull the knife away or step away from the bus or whatever it is that's actually causing you physical pain at that moment. But that can be a little bit trickier when it comes to emotional pain. And I think that's for two reasons. I think the first reason is that we tend to jump in with the ego right after we have an intuition or a knowing that causes the emotional pain, which is a sign for us this isn't good for us. Let's choose something different, and there's an attraction to something different. But very quickly, instantaneously almost, the ego comes in and often makes us question that signal or that sign or that intuition that we're getting. And then we're in our heads in a process of the pros and cons and really looking at, what actually, maybe I didn't really feel that, maybe this actually means something else. But if we can just continue this process of becoming more and more aware of what we are experiencing physically in our bodies, we'll be able to kind of glean. I'm trying to think if there's a word that starts with a G. It's not glean. That means to take apart. If you know it, put it in the comments, please, if I don't think about it. If I don't think of it. But we're able to really separate those things and realize before the ego comes in, oh, actually I was feeling this emotional pain and I was feeling an attraction to running away or I was feeling an attraction to stop engaging with this person or that kind of thing. So we become more and more able to discern that and then make the choice that our body's telling us. And then there's another thing that can happen, which is we can become traumatized either by a childhood trauma or something that happened later. And what can happen is we can have a reaction to something that it isn't actually reacting to what's happening in the moment. It's reacting to what that brings up in us from the past. And a more severe example of that would be PTSD. But I think we all have some of those associations. And I think, at least for me, even if it's not in the moment clear, because sometimes you can dissociate a little bit and be sort of not there for a second to actually tune into whether this is an actual thing happening or not. You're just sort of like a little bit dissociated or a little bit, just gone for a second. So in that case, I think later, it's good to take a look at that and try to discern, is this something that I was actually responding to in the moment, or is it something that was bringing something up for me from the past? And I feel like that's fairly clear if you're able to kind of take a look at it and take a look at your past and your patterns and that kind of thing. And it's a great thing to do therapy around if that's something you're open to or you're already doing. But those are sort of separate scenarios from the scenario of just experiencing pain and then having the impulse to run away, to remove the knife from your finger. Those are pain. I think is always a sign. It's either a sign to stop doing a painful thing, or to look at the thing that's internally causing us pain and discover whether or not there's something there for us to further discover and further unpack, so that we're not carrying that around and experiencing physically what we're experiencing in that moment, no matter what kind of pain it is so important, instead of just sort of explaining it away or thinking we shouldn't be crying, just to really sit with that emotion and even before there becomes a label on it, just the sensations in the body, sitting with those sensations in the body and feeling the burning chest or the rush of blood to the face or the headache or whatever is happening in our body at the time. If we're experiencing that and allowing it to pass through, it's not going to be stored in the body further. So those are my thoughts on pain. No exercise today, just journal your experience with this if you feel to, anything that comes up for you, and just notice throughout the day if you're feeling pain and how you typically respond to that. Do you pay attention to it? Do you sit with it? It doesn't mean you're going to sit down for half an hour and be with it. You're just, even if it's just a few moments of being like, oh, she said something and that really, I feel a burning in my chest from that. Or like last night, this guy was yelling at me and Vivi last night. She was kind of having a fit at the pool, and this guy who lives above the pool was like really being so mean and rude and just yelling that we were like interrupting his silence and stuff. And it really, like, I was thinking about how sometimes a verbal assault actually feels like a physical assault and becomes a physical assault when it energetically sort of gets in there, And so I was showing Vivi again, like, just sitting with how do you feel? What is it? And then of course we're talking about respect and how respectful ways to express your emotions and ways that you can, go in your own room and kind of run it out or complete the motion that your body wanted to do, like punch that guy in the face, and how that really helps those emotions move through. So those are my thoughts. Go ahead and do your journaling, and I hope you're having a wonderful day.